Welcome to GCSE Maths. In this video we are going to look at how to calculate the volume of a prism and some of the questions you may get in exams relating to this topic. Right, so the first question is find the volume of a triangular prism. Well, when we want to find the volume of something, the volume means the space inside something, we first need to find the surface area of the face. And because this is a triangular prism, we're going to want to find the surface area of this triangle here. And once we find the surface area of the triangle, then we can times by the length in order to find the total volume. Right, well, I can see that the triangle has a width of 4 and a height of 5, or a base of 4. And we know that the formula to calculate the area of a triangle is a half base times height. That'll be 4 times 5. And that'll be, well, 4 times 5 is 20. So if we have a half times 20, well, we know a half of 20 is 10. And that's our area, the area of the face of the prism. And now we've got the area, we can multiply that by 6 to get the total volume. 10 times 6 is 60, therefore 60 centimetres cubed is the volume of the triangular prism. So first find the area of the face and then times it by its length or by its height if it's stood up tall. Right, the next one is calculate the volume of the L-shaped prism. So this one's a little bit more tricky because we need to it's a bit harder to calculate the surface area of the face. What I'd do with an L-shaped prism is I'd split this L into 2 rectangles because we know how to calculate the surface area of a rectangle. It's just width times length times width. Right, okay, so this bottom triangle here is 5 by 3. 5 times 3 is 15, so that's 15 centimetres squared. And we've also got a rectangle here, which is 2. And we also need to find the height of this rectangle. I've got the height of this side here, which is 7. And I've got the height of this, which is 3. So if I do 7 take away 3, okay, the height of this part here is going to be 4. 4 times 2 is 8 centimetres squared. And to get the total surface area of this face here, I'm going to need to do 15 plus 8, which is 23 centimetres squared. And now that I've got the surface area of the face of the prism, I can now times that by the length in order to get the total volume. 23 times 8 is equal to 184 centimetres cubed. If you do that on your calculator. And that's the volume of the L-shaped prism. So again, I've calculated the surface area of the face to begin with, and then I've multiplied it by its length. Now this one's a little bit different. The prism has a volume of 154 centimetres cubed. Calculate the height of the prism. So in this question, I'm going to need to sort of work backwards. I know that the surface area of the triangle would be a half base times height. So that would be a half times 8 times h, which would be 4h would be this. That would be the surface area of the triangle. And to get the volume of the prism, I need to times that by 7. 4h times 7 would equal 28h centimetres cubed. And I know the volume of the prism is 154. So I can say, well, 28h equals 154. And if I want to find the height, I just need to rearrange and solve the formula. which I can do by dividing by 28. So if I divide both sides by 28, I get the height as being 5.5 centimetres. And that's, so you just, in that question, all I did is I worked out the volume as I would normally, and I was left with 28h because, I don't know the value of h. But then because they give you the volume of the prism in the question, you know that 28h is going to be equal to that. And once you write 28h is equal to 254, it's just a case of rearranging the equation to solve to find out what the value of h is. Right, in this question we need to calculate the value of x. Now this one's a bit more tricky because x actually turns up twice in the when we're working out the volume. And we know if we want to find the volume of a rectangular prism, as shown here, that we need to do all the sides, just multiply the sides together. We're going to do 6 multiplied by x plus 2, and then we're going to multiply that by 2x. And if we multiply all those together, we know it's going to equal, because in the question they've given us the volume already, it's going to equal 180. So we can write 180 in there. Right, okay, I'm going to multiply this bracket out first. So 6 times x and 6 times plus 2, well, sort of, because I need to multiply it by 2x as well, but that'll get me 6x plus 12. I'll probably write this 2x now in front, because all I'm going to do is I'm going to times both the terms by 2x as well. And that equals 180. Right, so I'm going to need to multiply both terms in the bracket by 2x now. So 2x times 6 is 12x squared. 2x times 12 is plus 24x. And that's equal to 180. Now I've got a quadratic and I'm going to want to rearrange to make it equal to 0. Therefore, I'm going to take 180 off both sides. And that will give me 12x squared plus 24x minus 180 equals 0. And now it's a case of solving a quadratic. What I noticed though is all the terms in that equation you can divide by 12. Even if you divided by 2, you could divide again and again and again, and eventually you get to the same point. We're going to divide by, so if we divide everything by 12, 12x squared would become x squared, 24x would become plus 2x, and minus 180 would become minus 15. And this equation we can solve by factorisation. And if we look at numbers that multiply to make 15, you could either have 15 and 1 or 5 and 3. I've got another video on factorising quadratics if you need to do some work on that. There's going to be a plus and a minus because we can see that the numbers must multiply to make a negative number. And because the sum is positive, we need to add 5 and minus 3. Now we can solve to get two values. We can have x equals minus 5 and x equals 3. But because we're looking at what length is x, well, it can't be a negative, so we can't have we're not going to have x equals minus 5. We're going to have x equals 3. And that's our answer. X is 3 for that question. Right, a cylinder is filled with water at a rate of 50 centimetres cubed per second. Calculate how long it takes to fill a cylinder. Give your answer to one decimal place. Right, first of all, I'm going to need to work out the volume of the cylinder before I can calculate how long it's going to take to fill it. And if we think about, well, the face of a cylinder is a circle, that means it must be pi times r squared, because that's the surface area of a circle, and then you multiply it by its height, which is 11. So if we do that, pi times r squared, which is 4, times 11. And if you type that into your calculator, you will get 552.92 centimetres cubed. Okay, we know that the cylinder is being filled at a rate of 50 centimetres cubed per second. What that means is every second, 50 centimetres cubed of that cylinder is going to be filled up. Therefore, if we want to find out how long it's going to take to fill 552.92 centimetres cubed in seconds, we're going to do 552.92 divided by 50, because that's the rate at which it's been filled up at. 552.92 over 50 is equal to, and if you round it to one decimal place, it's 11.1 seconds. So that's the time it'll take to fill that cylinder up. So first, if you've got a question like this, first find the volume of the cylinder, or the volume of whatever prism you've got, and then just divide it by the rate at which it's been filled up by. Right, a new chocolate bar design takes the shape of a trapezoidal prism. The chocolate used to make the bar costs 60 pence per 100 centimetre cubed. Calculate how much it would cost to make 10 bars. Give your answer to the nearest pence. In this question, we're going to need to know how to work out the area of a trapezium. Because first we need to calculate the area of this trapezium on the face of the prism. Right, well, to calculate the area of a trapezium, we need to, the formula is a half A plus B times C. Well, A and B stand for these two opposite the sides that are parallel. The parallel sides, and C is the height, or you could call it H, possibly. Right, A plus B is 6 plus 2, which is 8, so we've got a half times 8 times 3. Well, half times 8 is 4, 4 times 3 is 12. So the surface area of the trapezium is 12 centimetres squared. If we want to find the volume of the bar, then we need to do 12, the surface area, times the length, which is 9. And 12 times 9 is 108 centimetres cubed. Now the question asks us how much is it going to cost to make 10 bars. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work out the volume of all 10 bars. And to do that, I just do 10 times 108, which is 1080. And if we look in the question, it tells us that it costs, so 100 centimetres cubed is 60 pence. And we need to scale that up to 1080. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to divide by 100. Just to get 1 centimetre cubed, which is 0.6. And then I'm going to multiply by 1080. And if I multiply by 1080, I get £6.48. So if the cost to make 10 bars of that chocolate bar would be £6.48. So first you need to work out the volume of the prism, and after you've worked out the volume of the prism, you can then scale the price up so it matches the volume of the 10 bars rather than 100 centimetre cubed. So that's how you work out one of those questions when it involves money. Sometimes they'll do questions like where you have to fill a sand pit with sand. It could be something to do with filling using a mixture of some sort. It might be to do with food. So there's a few things you could do with that. Right, thank you for watching. I hope you found it helpful. If you'd like to see more videos, please click the subscribe button. And for practice questions, visit www.mitchellmathsandscience.com. The link can be found in the description.